Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. And this is your Midday Market Report for Friday, January 27th, 2023. Just 4 days left in January. Just 4 days left before Massachusetts launches. Early this morning, hopefully everyone was able to catch Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald and other fine writing establishments and bookies.com talking about the mass launch, the before, the during, and what to expect after. We're able to catch up on some of the apps that are already, the mobile apps that won't launch until March, where they are, who they're connected with, and who is in the, I guess the on deck circle, who might be coming in. But it's not Monday, it's Friday. So we're in Fort Lauderdale today, where we have our good friend and colleague, Mr. BDB himself, to get us caught up to the weekend games, to talk some hockey, maybe talk a little college basketball, or wherever he wants to go, PGA. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Beating the Book himself.
What's up, Jeff? That's beating the bookie.
Beating the
no
bookie.
Beating the book.
Yes. A little Freudian slip. Apologies.
It's all right. It happens. It happens. Lots of different names on Twitter. So
yes, and I have to be very, very careful there. Apologies. We were talking backstage. We got two big games. Obviously, this weekend, the AFC and NFC conference championships. Winner goes to the bowl to Arizona. One of the games is Cincinnati, Kansas City is flip-flop back and forth. Kansas City opened 1.5 point favorites. Then the uncertainty of Mahomes and the ankle, seeing Cincinnati as high as 1.5, 2, maybe 2.5. Then all of a sudden, Mahomes at practice, he looks great. Right now, 1.5 and 48 at Circa. And the first game, San Fran at Philly, 2.5. Philly favored and 46.5. Had a week to think about these. What's your thoughts on the two games so far?
I mean, the AFC, I think everyone just purely bet the Bengals the first couple of days of the week off that Mahomes injury. And I know, now that they've said it was practice 2 straight days, and they saw him at his press conference with no boot on, no limp, so to say. You have to remember at the press conference, he's just walking forward, right? He's not cutting and stuff. Or when you have a busted ankle, it's when you cut side to side. That's when your ankle, really shows its weakness. But I've had the injury, and there's no way he heals, right? Like there's no way in a week you can heal. And there's no way he didn't wake up on Monday feeling a lot worse than he did on Sunday, right? Just because when you sleep on it, it's going to get a lot more painful, and it's going to get, blow up a little bit, it's hard to see him recovering from that in a week. But I think the initial rush to bet the Bengals, to make them a 2.5 point favorite, I think that was a little overreaction, right? Like, he's not playing the game in a wheelchair, right? He's not, his arm didn't break, right? So I think people kind of overreacted at first. They kind of moved too quick just because, a lot of people thought they were, we're so smart. Let's grab the Bengals right now while they're the dog, right? Because nobody else knows he's injured. I mean, everybody knew he was injured. So, my take on it is, Burrow is 3-0 against him with a healthy ankle. And now, it's going to be banged up. But it's hard to see, it's really hard to see Mahomes losing 4 straight to the Bengals, right? It's tough to see. I mean, the Bengals did dominate the Bills. I think the weather had a lot to do with it. and the Bills just played very poorly. But the Bengals looked great. Their offense looked great. Their defense played well. I think the Bills committed a lot of unforced errors and stuff like that also to help. But the Bengals, they did look good. And, the Chiefs looked good too. I mean, the Chiefs were never really in threat to lose that game at all. I mean, we saw Chad Henne, a family friend, come in, lead a 98-yard touchdown drive as a second-string quarterback. So I think the Chiefs are in good hands. And, at first I liked the Bengals when I was like, Mahomes is dinged up and stuff. But, as I've gone on in the week, I was starting to think, well, everyone's counting out the Chiefs already, basically, right? And you can never count out the MVP of the league, Mahomes. So I haven't decided, where I'm gonna bet yet. But fading Patrick Mahomes is not one of my favorite things, especially when it's basically a pick 'em spread, right? So I'd say at this point, like, it's just tough because we haven't seen clips of Mahomes practicing, full speed, right? Like out there taking dropbacks, and it's tough to really say at this point, like, what you like. I definitely want to see some clips of him and warm-ups, dropping back and taking some snaps probably before I make my move. But I'm just not going to count out Mahomes because of his ankle. So if he's healed in like a week, it's a total miracle, because as someone who's had that injury happen, I know it's very tough. I'm sure it'll be wrapped up and he'll get as many shots as possible to play the game, but I'm not so quick to count the Chiefs out, especially, when they have a good coach like Andy Reid.
I go back to last year's conference championship game, and you just got to go to the last 5 seconds of the half where Kansas City dominated the first half, up 14, got a 20-something yard field goal to go up 17 and getting the ball to start the second half. Mahomes was like literally whining to Andy, come on, we got time. Like, we can get one more playoff here. And obviously they didn't. And then not just the second half adjustments that Cincinnati made, it was a different Patrick Mahomes in the mindset. Like, shit, I blew it before the half. They never got it back, and Cincinnati dominated that game. And then the second half, I should say. Then the regular season, this game, again, Kansas City had their way. They got up 10 again in the third quarter. And then the Bengals score, and then Kels on that fumble around on the 40 changed the game, and Cincinnati wins. Yes, I know Burrow is 3-0. Yes, I know Mahomes is banged up, but you're never going to get Kansas City at this price with Mahomes. And when he was an underdog, I had to think back. Maybe that championship game when Brady and the Patriots came in was the only time he might have been a short favorite at home. This kid's never an underdog, never mind at home.
Yeah, and I believe last year, when they blew the game, the lead in the playoffs, it was Tyreek Hill getting tackled on the 1 yard line, I think, right before half. That was the last play, right? And then, I think the Bengals, last year McPherson was kicking a lot better than he was this year, right?
Good
I think
point.
it's a different kicker this year. He's not been nearly as good as he was last year. I don't think, and then, we have the Chiefs blowing that big lead in Cincinnati this year, losing again. I don't think that's one of those things. Can lightning strike 3 times? Can the Chiefs, blow 3 straight big leads against the Bengals? I don't really see it. So, probably right now I'd probably take the Chiefs if I had to, but I just haven't decided. I have to see Mahomes take some snaps, and warm-ups before I probably make a move either way. But yeah, I definitely don't. I think the Chiefs can learn from those mistakes. And, everyone just assumes that just because he's Joe Burrow, they're just going to go in and win the game, right? Like, oh, he never loses. They're just going to go in and win the game. And, it's more complex than that, like Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback on the planet, right? So they're going to have to go through Patrick Mahomes this week to take the AFC Championship. So I just want to say, don't be so quick to count out Patrick Mahomes like everybody has done this week, pretty much.
The NFC game, very intriguing. My opening numbers was 1.5 for the 46. Currently at circa, as we speak, 2.5 minus 20 cents. towards the Eagles with a 46.5. Eagles dominant last week against the Giants. San Fran, they won. Purdy didn't make any mistakes. 2 costly turnovers by Dak, losing Pollard right before the half. And still Dallas had the ball with a chance to, at least get the tie there. Been waiting for the Brock Purdy hiccup. Haven't seen it. He's had 2 games on the road, one a short week at Seattle, and then one in Vegas against the Raiders, where he was losing in the third or fourth quarter, came back to win that game. What's your thoughts in the NFC game?
Well, I mean, it's tough to, the Eagles looked so good last week against the Giants. Jalen Hurts looked fantastic. Their defense looked great. And their coaching has been like elite. I like the 49ers, but you can only, their defense has played so great for so long. How long can they maintain that for, right? I think that the Cowboys, they did beat the Cowboys, but I think the Cowboys shot themselves in the foot more times than you can count in that game, right? So I think Dallas didn't do anything to help themselves that game. See, Dak Prescott's basically like a mediocre quarterback, right? I mean, he puts up good numbers in the regular season sometimes, but he's not a winner, right? Whereas Brock Purdy, who I thought, he wasn't very good in college, seemingly got worse every year. I mean, he's just came in and he's been the Tom Brady of, his draft class pretty much of the last few years, right? Whereas he's going to be the starting quarterback for the 49ers next year. So I think, we have number 1 defense versus number 1 offense. So one of those trends is going to break this week. And, I think, if I had to right now, I'd probably go with Philly. Just because they're playing at home. It's a cross-country trip for the Niners. The Niners game was definitely more physical than the Eagles game. And I think since the Eagles got up to such a big lead, they didn't really have to show so much exotic looks, right? They probably have a lot saved for this game. So, I mean, gun to my head, I would go with the Eagles right now. But, that's not – I think the 49ers can easily win, right? So, they're 2 – both games this weekend are pretty evenly matched teams, right? We don't have this is not like a TCU versus Georgia, right? Both these teams are pretty evenly matched. So I obviously think it can go either way, but I played an exact result for the Super Bowl. I played the Eagles beat the Bengals. It was like plus 550, I think. I played that at the beginning of the week when I played that actually on Sunday when I thought Mahomes would maybe could even be out, right? Because the way they took him out in the second quarter, it's like you didn't know if he was coming back in the game. So I'm not really sure about that bet now because I don't really want to be just betting like on a Mahomes injury, pretty much. So I think both games are pretty much toss-ups. I do think the Eagles have a little better chance of winning than the Chiefs do at home, right? Just because of the quarterback play, right? We're seeing experience, Jalen Hurts experience versus Brock Purdy. He's so young, right? Like 8 games or whatever. And I think, people just assume that Brock Purdy is just like nothing phases him, stuff like that. He's been playing perfect football, but, will that last, right? At some point, there has to be a mistake made, right? And how will they come back, from that mistake? We saw dropped interceptions by the Cowboys also. So it's all about the opposing defense making a play. And I think it'll be harder to make a play against a mobile quarterback like Jalen Hurts, who can escape in the pocket, who, when stuff breaks down, he can scramble and go on those long runs, and like a pocket passer in Brock Purdy. So I'd lean the Eagles right now in that one.
We talked, it was kind of comical. They did release some numbers in some of the books right now for the Super Bowl. Initially, yesterday, I saw a video from Kelly Stewart from Barstool say it was one either which way for all 4 combinations. It didn't matter. At Circa, they put the NFC -2 with a 37.5. We talked about it. I mean, that's the lowest over under I've seen in a Super Bowl in forever. And with the two, so the way my brain works, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, with the 37.5, is that a 49ers versus a Bengals? A rematch from way back. I'm trying to put the pieces together, but as you said, both games, I wouldn't be shocked with any of the four teams winning on Sunday.
Yeah, and if the Eagles played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and Mahomes had two more weeks to rest his leg, I don't see how an Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl total is not 50 or 51, right? Like, I don't see how it wouldn't be that high. So the 37.5 number, if they took 20 grand on that right now, I would gladly bet 20 grand on the over that 37.5, because that's so low, especially if you got a Chiefs versus Eagles Super Bowl. So I'm not really sure where that number came from. It's like you said, it seems like they're banking on the Niners winning, basically. But we see the Niners can also get in the shootouts also. So I think that's ultra low. So, I mean, if a book took like 20 grand on the over for that one, I'd definitely pop that off like right now. But I don't think they would, so.
Well, maybe we need to at Jeffrey Benson or at Mr. Metcalf, see what they're saying.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely if we saw an Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl, I mean, that's an easy total 51. Right, if we're going by the regular season, maybe 50.5 since the Super Bowl, but I definitely think like a 51. That's just that they're protecting against the Niners like at all cost. So we'll see. But usually I don't like to bet those AFC versus NFC lines. I like to get to the game and then look at the teams and then bet whoever I like at that point.
I have to throw this out to you because we've had a lot of shows together, and I know your allegiance towards Live Golf and a little whatever you want to call it. They were calling it T-Gate happened earlier this week. Patrick Reed goes up to a couple of fellow golfers, and there's Rory. He's just trying to be a gentleman, handshake, how you doing? And Rory played the I don't see you card, and then Patrick took offense and just had a tee and just tossed it at him. It's all over social media. I just wanted to ask your opinion. I mean, is it Rory just being, listen, you either love or hate Patrick Reed. He's got a Masters win. He is a big game hunter. Yeah, he's a wild card and he's out there, but you either love him or hate him. But just on the incident in general and what your thoughts were.
Yeah, I mean, I've met Patrick Reed a few times and he's been super nice every time. I mean, I know he has these lawsuits against the PGA and stuff, and they sent subpoenas to Rory and Tiger and a few other PGA guys. So understandably, that probably annoyed Rory. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like I said, Patrick Reed, I met him a few times, nice guy. But if I had sent somebody a subpoena, like, I probably wouldn't have gone over and said, "Hey, what's up?" Like, like if I send you a subpoena, like, I'm not going to go over to you and be like, "Hey, how's it going? What's up, man?" Like forgot about anything that happened, right? So I could see maybe a year from now or something like that. But I think it was probably a little too soon for Patrick Reed to go up to him and say that. But I thought it was pretty funny how he said, he threw the four aces tee like in his direction because that's his team. So I think that was just a big ado about nothing. He didn't really. I doubt Rory didn't even know that he threw a tee. I mean, he didn't really throw a tee. Like, it's just more fake media stuff. They just want to. But it is a little annoying how all Rory talks about is, live golf, live golf, live golf. He's like, it's now almost the end of January. Rory hasn't been into a PGA tournament in a month, over a month and a half. So 2 months actually. So. It'll be interesting over there. The DP World Tour today, actually. I think Rory and Patrick Reed were tied for first at 6 under. So I'm hoping they got to the weekend and they both, if they're both still tied for first, they'll be playing in a pairing together. Let's see, actually. Let's look up the scores for that one. DP. All right, here we go. It's a Hero Dubai Classic. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but they were tied earlier, so I'm not sure what the tee times will be tomorrow, but that'll be pretty much, if you're up early, I mean, that'll be pretty much what must-watch TV if they're paired together, right? And Patrick Reed's a gamer; he's a competitor and stuff too. So, I liked Rory, but he's a little too. He's the one always talking about let's move on and talk about the PGA Tour, but then he was always talking about Live. So it's like it's just kind of annoying. But Patrick Reed, I can see how people don't like him. I mean, you've got a lot of money, you're filing lawsuits and stuff, which, I mean, if it's understandable because people slander you and stuff, but I don't really, like I said, if I sent a subpoena to one of my competitors, like if I sent you a subpoena, I wouldn't come on like 2 months later and be like, hey Jeff, you want to come on my show? Like, I just wouldn't do that. You just have to know when and where to talk to people. And I think probably that wasn't a great idea to probably go up to Rory,
Speaking of PGA, Rory had an amazing year last year, and Mr. Rahm, who couldn't get his flat stick together, said, all right, I've had enough of hearing about Rory. 2 wins already on tour. I don't know where he is right now today, but this weekend, as we're going to start to progress, before you know it, we'll be talking Masters. We're still out in California, Torrey Pines. And thoughts on the fast start by Rahm? And did you do any golf this week? And if you did, how you sitting right now in golf?
We're doing pretty well. Like, Rahm, the fast start of the season, I mean, it's not a surprise to me. He's the best golfer in the world. I mean, he's been for a few years. Last year, he just lost his putter. So that's the only difference. This year, he's putting it very well. I think Rahm will continue to ascend and have a couple more wins this season. Hopefully, he grabs another major. The start for this tournament has been great. I had a max play on Jason Day, plus 115 to be the top Australian finish. And usually you have to ride those out all 4 days. But, Jason, he's top 10 right now. No other Aussies made the cut. So I cashed that bet after the second round, which is nice to have a sweat-free like max winner. So I think my PGA max plays are 66 and 22 all time now. So I was happy to start out the year with a win there. And we're just going along. We got a couple of days left of this tournament. And hopefully we can maybe get an outright or something like that. But it's been a nice start.
Well, it's that time of the week, and I was looking, and I thought I saw. I'm just double checking. Yes, it is. I always have to bring up a sore spot right now for you. That's the Florida Panthers. I'm looking at the hockey slate tonight. There's 3-6. There's 8 games. Short college basketball slate until tomorrow, obviously. Our weekly check-in with your Florida Panthers and taking a quick look at the NHL slate, maybe if you see anything that have a potential lean on tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I give Paul Maurice credit where credit's due. He switched up our line. He switched up the lines, about 7 games ago, and I think we're 5-6, 2-1 maybe. In the last few, and we just lost an overtime game to the Penguins 7-6, but we're down to our third string goalie, a kid who had no NHL experience because our first 2 guys were injured. So the Panthers are playing much better in January. So they definitely turned the page there. Where I'm pretty sure they'll make the playoffs at this point. Tonight we play the LA Kings at home. And I played the over 6.5 in that one because, both have explosive offenses. And the Panthers goaltending, with backup goalie and stuff. They haven't announced who's going to start tonight, but I would assume it's the third string kid again who's shown, flashes at times, but he did give up 7 goals against Pittsburgh. But we really have no depth at goalie right now due to injuries, so we just have to score a bunch of goals. So I like the over 6.5 tonight. And then tomorrow night, I'll be at the game. We're playing 6 p.m. against the Bruins. should be a good game. Hopefully, we beat Boston here already once this year. Hopefully, we can make it happen again. But we just have to get healthy first. And we're healthy everywhere except in the goal. So hopefully, Spencer Knight or Sergei Bobrovsky can get healthy pretty soon here, so we can get along with our season. But yeah, I definitely like the changes they've made in January. I think they've been playing much better. So I mean, just looking at it right now, we're 4-1. That's the Bruins, but yeah, we are. I can't go through all this in January, but we're 1, 3, and 2, 5, and 2, 3. So we're 7-4 in January, and 2 of those losses are in overtime. So they've been playing some better hockey. Switching the lines up, did work well. I just wish it wouldn't have taken 2 months to figure out. But they are where they are right now, and hopefully we can beat a Boston team tomorrow night after we beat the Kings tonight, and get some momentum headed into the All-Star break.
Yeah, the Bruins coming off a tough loss to the Lightning last night. We're waiting localies here. When's the shoe going to drop? They're off to such an amazing start. And from last year, and I know from a couple of years ago, the President Cup doesn't mean squadouche. So, you can do what you want in, November, December, and January. It's what you're doing in the later months in April and May that is where it's all at. My spreadsheet has Bob as projected. You saying he's still injured, or does it seem like he might be?
No, they haven't released the lineup yet, but he's been out for a while now. If he's healthy, I gladly welcome him back to that game, but that won't change my bet in this game. The Kings are going to score, so and the Panthers are first in the league in shots on goal. I think we're 7th in scoring, so we're going to score as well. And it's a long trip for the Kings to make, and it's a Panthers' first home game in it's our Panthers' first home game in quite a while. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we can get the win. But Bobrovsky versus the backup kid, what's his name? Where is he? They have so many goals. It's like you can't remember the third string goalie's name for the life of you. But Alex Lyon, I think. Hopefully, Bobrovsky can just make enough saves tonight for like a 4-3 Panthers win. So, the Bruins will be coming in tomorrow night off a loss to the Lightning. They're going to want to get that taste out of their mouths. I don't think they've lost twice in a row this year to anybody. So, we'll see what happens. And like you said, as the Bruins, look at the Bruins, the Yankees, the Buffalo Bills. You never want to be playing your best in months that don't matter, right? And I think that's what the Bruins have to watch out for. You always want to be tested, stuff like that. So unless you're the Georgia Bulldogs, you don't want to be playing your best like before the postseason begins. So we see it happen time and time again. The team with the best record seemingly never wins the championship. So we'll see if the Panthers can get it done. Like I said, I don't have much faith in their GM and president and their Paul Maurice. I mean, he's grown on me a little bit just because he made these line changes. But he's still a subpar coach. I mean, his career record is what it is. He has the most losses in NHL history, I believe. So that's not going to change. But I think if anything, the Panthers can start getting some momentum for next season. So I do like where they're playing in January. So hopefully they can just keep it up, because I think going from the President's Cup, President's Trophy to a non-playoff spot would be pretty pathetic. So we'll just, we'll have to see.
Before we wrap it up, B2B, is there, for a lot of people watching and listening right now, is there a prop or something that sticks out to you for the weekend coming up, or is there a college basketball game highlighted in your, to come this weekend you could maybe throw out to the listeners?
I think if you remember, I gave out the Bengals plus 750. Remember, to win the Super Bowl like was that maybe 4 weeks ago?
Yep.
So, as far as a play for tomorrow's basketball or anything, I don't really have anything yet. I did play tonight. I already sent it out. I played the Youngstown State game over 149.5. They are playing Oakland. So, Youngstown State's been one of my favorite teams to bet this year, college basketball. Their pace is so fast. Their offense is so good. They can get out there and run. So I like the Youngstown State Oakland over 149.5. That's tonight. And I gave a free play out on my website also today. I gave out the Bundesliga game over the Red Bull Leipzig versus Stuttgart over 3 minus 120 for 1 unit. I gave that on my site, and I started this free play page on my site like almost 3 weeks ago, and we're 15-4 right now on those free plays. So you guys can go take a look at those if you'd like, also on my website. But I played that basketball game tonight and that soccer game today. That's pretty much it so far. And like I said, I played the Panthers Kings over 6.5 minus 130.
They can go to Twitter, obviously, and follow you at Beaten the Bookie. Rob, tell them where else they can go to your website and get your free picks and all the packages that you do have available.
Yeah, all my packages are on site, beatenthebookie.com. There's no G, and it's just like my Twitter handle. And I'm sure everyone here follows me on Twitter, so you can go pick up free plays on the site or packages. There's packages for every sport, whatever toots your horn is there. So we've got everything for you, and I'm just looking forward to another big weekend and seeing who we can get in the Super Bowl. So
we can't wait. Thank you as always for showing up. Hopefully the sinuses and the beautiful Florida weather takes its course versus I can send you buckets and buckets of rain. That's all it's been doing back here on the Cape. So you could send us some sun anytime, Rob.
Yeah, it's been a decent week here, but I just got back from Chicago on Monday, so my sinuses, they're all over the place right now. So we've got a lot of pollen in the air already down here. So hopefully can rest up this weekend and come out on Monday feeling good.
Beaten the Bookie. Go follow him. And if you need to, come follow us at EC Sports or Invest. If you follow us, we'll follow you right back. Can't thank you enough. For everyone out there, go to his website, check out his free picks, take a look at the over in the Youngstown game and also the over in the Florida Panthers game. And for myself here at EC Sports Invest and for B2B at Beaten the Bookie, we wish everyone a great, have a good Friday, guys, and we will see you soon.